When someone lies to you, the emotional reality no one talks about. I remember the exact moment I realized something wasn't true. For some people, that moment comes with anger right away, a sharp reaction, a need to confront it immediately. That wasn't my experience, though both responses make sense. There was no confrontation, no raised voices, just a quiet sentence that didn't match what I already knew in my body. The person was speaking calmly, their tone was steady, and yet something inside of me tightened. It's hard to explain that feeling if you haven't experienced it yourself. It's not immediate anger. It's not even clarity right away. It's more like your internal world pauses, waiting for confirmation of something you don't yet want to name. At first, I didn't react. I stayed present in the conversation. I nodded, I listened. But later, when I was alone, the truth settled more fully. What I had been told wasn't real. And in that moment, what hurt most wasn't the content of the lie. It was the quiet fracture of trust. The sudden awareness that the reality I thought I was standing in was no longer solid. Being lied to creates a particular kind of disorientation as you try to process what exactly just happened. When trust shifts beneath you. Trust isn't something we consciously construct. It forms slowly over time in ordinary moments, shared conversations, honest responses, the quiet assumption that what exists between two people is grounded in truth. When that shifts, even subtly, it affects more than the relationship. It affects your internal sense of safety. You may find yourself replaying conversations, looking for the moment where things diverged. You may question your memory, your perception, your instincts. This isn't weakness, it's your system trying to reconcile two competing realities, what you believed and what is now clear. Sometimes the strongest feeling isn't anger at all, it's grief. Grief for the version of the relationship you thought you had. Grief for the ease that existed before doubt entered the room, before the betrayal. Your emotional response makes sense. There is often pressure, both internal and external, to move quickly after discovering a lie, to confront, to resolve, to forgive, or to leave. But emotional clarity rarely follows urgency. More often, it follows emotional regulation. You may notice your body responding first, the tightness in your chest, restlessness, fatigue, difficulty concentrating. You may feel more guarded even with people who have done nothing wrong. The emotional pain of it all while your system is trying to restore equilibrium and not yet quite finding it. Next, asking the simple, essential question, am I safe here? That question deserves time. It deserves gentleness. Clarity emerges slowly. One of the most destabilizing aspects of being lied to is how it can disrupt trust in yourself. You may wonder how you didn't see it sooner. You may question your own awareness. But trusting someone is not a failure of perception. It's a natural expression of connection. Trust is how relationships function. Offering it is not a mistake. What matters now is not judging yourself for what you didn't know, but listening to what you now know. Your emotional responses are information. Your hesitation is information. Your need for space or conversation or time, all of it reflects your internal system recalibrating. You can allow that process to unfold. Relationships sometimes change, and sometimes they don't. There is no single outcome after betrayal. Some relationships repair. Others shift permanently. Some fade quietly away. Others become more honest than they were before. What determines that isn't speed, it's truth. Truth in how the other person responds, truth in whether safety can be restored, and truth in what feels emotionally sustainable for you. Forgiveness, if it comes, tends to emerge naturally when safety is present again, and sometimes it doesn't. Both outcomes are valid. Your responsibility is not to preserve the relationship at all costs. It is to remain connected to your own clarity. You are allowed to care for yourself. After being lied to, many people continue functioning outwardly while carrying quiet internal weight. They show up, they fulfill their responsibilities, they keep moving, but internally something is still settling. Healing doesn't require dramatic action, but it does require honesty with yourself. It requires acknowledging the impact the experience had on you. It requires allowing your internal system to return to steadiness. Sometimes that happens in silence. Sometimes it happens in conversations. Sometimes it happens simply by being heard. You don't have to sort through it alone. If someone's dishonesty has left you feeling disoriented, guarded, or unsure how to move forward, it makes sense that you might need space to process it. Not advice, not correction, just space. Hold offers confidential listening sessions where you can speak freely and reconnect with your own clarity, a place where you don't have to rush your healing or explain away your experience. Because when trust shifts externally, restoring trust internally becomes the most important work, and that begins with being heard.